Hello Internet, welcome to a Sounds of Stadia live stream, watch along, reaction, time travelling craziness with myself, one of your hosts Chris, alongside my colourful co-host in the queues right below me. We've got the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie himself. Give us a wave, Richie.
Hello there.
And right below him, holding up the stack, the base of the foundation tower himself, the techie teacher, Mr. Tom, joining me and our lovely audience on a Sunday afternoon. A sunny Sunday afternoon for a Ubisoft forward.
It's 10 to 8.
It's the afternoon.
It is 10 to 8.
That's still after, well, evening maybe.
Definitely is afternoon, but it's definitely evening.
Afternoon. Anyway, we're here for the Ubisoft forward event. It's the first of its kind. It's Ubisoft taking the mantle from away from E3 and giving us a digital event of their own. Thank you for everyone who's joined us in the chat. I can see we've got Joy in tonight, we've got Ben tagging along, we've got Richie, don't know who he is, but he's in the chat as an admin apparently. We've got a couple more people, Derek in there as well, Jinxie, thanks for stopping by, and a bunch of other people as well. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below for the video on the channel. We've got about 10 or so minutes until we jump into all the juicy Ubisoft action. We just finished recording our podcast, gents, for this week's episode, and we've
When you say literally, when you say finished, I mean we've literally just come straight from recording this week's
Yeah, we were
podcast.
quickly rushing to get things turned over for this.
very, very quick turnaround because we want to make sure this week's episode doesn't ignore everything that happens in this Ubisoft Forward event. It would be very stupid of us, in my opinion, to record a full episode and not acknowledge probably some of the big news that's going to drop right here now. So we've left a little bit of time where we're going to record our reactions after this show, and we're going to segment it into the podcast as well for all you lovely listeners out there. If you are new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We do bring you a weekly podcast every Monday called the Sounds of Stadia Podcast, in fact. It's very aptly named, if you ask me. It's basically where we take all the Stadia news, cram it together into about an hour or so, and myself, Richie and Tom discuss it, talk it, and break it down. Now, as we go into the 10-minute countdown, gentlemen, let's switch our focus to this Ubisoft Forward in itself. Let's go. In fact, you know what? Let's go full screen with it.
Ooh.
We've got a man with a beard talking Trials Rising.
That's a very nice beard.
Now, we gave our predictions last week. Richie, have you got them?
Yes, I have the predictions in front of me.
Would you like to give us a quick rundown of what lies we came up with?
Yeah. Sorry, I just saw a guy fire a goose at someone else. It distracted me. So, Chris, your predictions were a new Prince of Persia game, Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Quarantine will have day and date, and a new name.
Did I say
Skull
day
and
and
Bones
date?
with a new. You said well. He said no. He said date. Sorry.
I was going to say, right, we'll get a date for it.
Rainbow Six Quarantine will have a new name, and we'll get the date for it. Skull and Bones will get a new name and single player reveal. There will be a new indie game announced. You're hoping for Valiant Hearts 2. And a partnership of some description with Stadia for an exclusive, which will link it to the Kinect, which comes out on Tuesday.
Interesting.
And Tom?
Yes.
Tom went for the easy one, so Far Cry 6. So 1 point for Tom straight away.
Hey, I called that before any of the leaks came out, so don't you do me evil like that. Don't you do me dirty. I called it before the leaks happened.
We know, everyone knows, but still. Watchdogs Legion date will be November 2020.
Mm-hmm.
A new Rayman game will come. Gods and Monsters will have a name change, and we'll also get the date, box art, and collector's edition announced. And For Honor 2. I went with the actual correct predictions. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be day and date with PS5 and Xbox Series X. Just Dance 2021 will be there, but will not have will not be coming to the Wii this time. Splinter Cell returns as the one more thing at the end. Something about Beyond Good and Evil.
Something about Beyond Good and Evil.
Something
I like
loose.
it. I like it. That's what he wrote about his own prediction, ladies and gentlemen. something beyond good and evil.
It's been a while since we've heard anything. I was just thinking now's the time, but I have no idea what that is going to be.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that it is in existence. And my final prediction was actually related to Stadia, and I went the part of the South Park games.
That was a good announcement. Do you not think we can see a new South Park game potentially?
Potentially, it's been quite a while, and the games were always well received.
I know they had lots of development issues behind the scenes, but like I said, yeah, very well received. Very well received.
Yeah.
6 and a bit minutes, gentlemen. We've gave our theories, gave our predictions. Obviously, Tom called the Far Cry one. I'd just like to say as well that I also had Giancarlo Esposito down as the villain. So I won't take any points, but but between me and Tom, we definitely clearly wish this game into existence.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would
There's
never
some sort
happen.
of like some sort of like podcast prediction magic going on there, wasn't there? Really, to be fair.
Certainly.
You never actually had it as one of your formal predictions, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I said I'll take no points for it. To be fair, quite frankly, I'm just thrilled to bits it's happening, and he looks like he's gonna be the antagonist. Have you both seen the not the leak, but the rumored time? Well, it was a leak, but the rumored time with it that the young child in the picture with him is actually Vaz from Far Cry 3. Yeah,
Yes, I've seen
so
that,
the
but-
picture, he's got like a shave, he's got like a slit in his eyebrow as the young child. So it's almost like is he going to be his father, and some shit's going to happen in this game, which is then going to loop back into
Vast
Far
as
Cry
far
3.
as like Far Cry antagonists goes, is by far the literally most
God.
frightening of them, the most
He's
psychopathic.
so unhinged.
Yeah.
I mean, I do hope that is the way they go, because that would be an awesome story if that's revealed at the end. But I think people are getting... It's a bit of a stretch because a young kid has a scar on his eyebrow that he's going to be fast, to be honest. It's a bit of a stretch.
I don't know, Richie. Have you got a scar through your eyebrow?
I actually do, yeah.
Oh well, never
Good
mind.
shout out to
I
Jinx
do
in
have
chat as
a
well.
scar in my left eyebrow.
Jinx in chat has just shouted out saying he expects an Elder Scrolls Skyrim 2 to be announced. Perhaps
No.
not at the Ubisoft event.
Maybe
We've
not.
got Rick in chat, we've got Andy in chat, we've got Iman in chat. What's up, guys? Thank you very much for tuning in. We are just 5 minutes and 15 seconds away now at this point. We are that close.
That
close
close.
right there. Oh, yeah.
What do we think? Rayman game, Tom? Did you see the guy wearing a Rabbids t-shirt just slightly earlier before this?
I mean, it's Ubisoft. They're going to wear something related to what they produce, aren't they? Really. Got Alexander Smith as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. We are that close. We're just seconds. I say seconds. We're still
Minutes.
seconds and minutes away.
Milliseconds.
Tom, there's literally a counter on screen.
There is a counter on screen.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think.
glad they put the counter there. It's quite a nice way of just funneling us towards everything kicking off live.
Yeah.
What do we think they're going to go big with first? Do we think it's going to be AAA game to kick things off, and then we end with a big surprise announcement? Because now the plans have been scuppered. Do we think the Far Cry 6 leak has now altered the route? Because that surely would have been the one
No.
last thing, maybe. No, you still
I
think it
don't
just
think
continues?
so. I think it's probably because we know it's a pre-recorded video. I think they're probably just not going to bother. I wouldn't be surprised if Far Cry is the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they have already announced that this video that they're going to be showing as the Ubisoft Forward is a pre-recorded video. It doesn't address recent news related to Ubisoft that you can find out about online if you want to have a look. But I think they've done this whole lead up as essentially talking about existing Ubisoft games and sort of like an indie highlight, an indie showcase. So I don't think we're actually going to see much in terms of indie here. I think it's going to be purely Ubisoft and purely AAAs. That's what I think we're going to be seeing today.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's lots.
Perhaps obviously some DLCs for something. Perhaps even a Division 2 new announcement for a new DLC coming out, or
Yeah, here's one for you.
Breakpoint.
Have we heard anything about Ubisoft's take on cross-generation play at the moment? Because that seems to be the big hot-button issue at the moment, with things with smart delivery from Xbox and Cyberpunk basically saying, yeah, you can just get both versions, and we've got 2K having more. If you get the premium edition, whatever it was called, was it Mamba Forever edition?
Yeah.
You get it cross-play, but if you get the basic version, you don't. So it'd be interesting to see what Ubisoft do with that.
Yeah, I always forget.
I do enjoy Steve.
I always forget it's a thing. Let's get that definition cranked up for everyone, shall we? As well.
Yeah.
Make sure it's in the highest quality we can possibly put out on an OBS stream. In terms of Tom, I think it's a really good shout, that actual content and going forward with next gen stuff. Richie, I think everyone would like to see how it's gonna work with Ubisoft in terms of cross progressional owning of the device, or the device owning of the kind of IP. If I recall, last time they brought out just different iterations. I think Black Flag was available on last gen and next gen. But again, this is a very different world we live in now, isn't it? With
it almost feels like the publishers are kind of rebelling against the platform holders a bit. Where I know Microsoft are pretty cool for you. If you buy one version, you get the best version on your hardware. Sony's still kind of holding out a bit. And it feels like Microsoft's take on it is like it's empowering publishers to go, you know what, just buy the game. For some publishers anyway.
How do we think Ubisoft are going to handle it then?
I don't know. I think Ubisoft are quite pro-consumer at the moment, so I could see them just going like, look, you get if you buy the game, you get the best version of the game for your hardware.
Yeah. It feels like it's just going to be the standard across the industry. It definitely feels like that's sort of like the adopted approach. And the problem is that once one platform or one publisher actually announces it, they all sort of have to follow suit. Otherwise, it's suddenly like, EA are doing this. Why aren't you doing it, for example?
Yeah, you want to be on the right side of the fence when those announcements all start to come out, don't you?
Because it's publicity. It's part of the publicity package, isn't it, really? If you suddenly go like against your competitors and say, oh yeah, our competitors are doing this, but we're not going to bother, so then suddenly you're sort of like dropping yourself down a hamstringing where you're going to be in relation to it. So
yeah, I completely agree. It's like,
Richie's distracted by
the guitar.
I'm trying to think of what other publishers have already announced it, because I know CD Projekt Red have.
2K.
I know there's more than that.
2K, but you have to purchase we saw with NBA 2K21 that it was going to be, you had to purchase the special edition.
And that was almost quite controversial because the stance CD Projekt Red had taken. And that's kind of my point, is like, one big publisher's already said this, and now you're looking like you're behind.
The thing is, CD Projekt Red have always said that they make games for gamers. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because we're literally there. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get that hype train rolling, boys! Woo, woo!
Ubisoft forward.
This is Ubisoft forward.
Explore
What we got?
Meet the devs. See the games.
Join us.
There he is. He's game on.
I think you're ahead of us again here, Chris.
Hi everyone, I'm Neelam Kumar, and I'm very excited to be co-hosting the first Ubisoft Forward with the talented Yusuf Magid. Today's show is all about getting up close and in-depth with all the exciting games we have in production here at Ubisoft.
I'm Yusuf, but there's no time to waste. So let's head straight for the streets of futuristic London and see what the hackers of DedSec are getting into.
Those sort of like collages of different games and things.
Yeah, trying to figure out, is it new or is it just an old?
Spreading subversive and hostile messaging over the last few weeks across London.
What we got?
Not the work of several people, as was originally believed, but the work of an individual.
Hang on a second.
Is this Watchdogs?
To have links with the terrorists.
Oh, what's this? This is Watchdogs Legion.
Yeah.
He said it was Watchdogs Legion.
Hashtag Watchdogs Legion.
Top right corner, hashtags Watchdogs Legion, yeah.
Authorities recommend
Tom,
not to approach
is it November?
the individual.
That's a good point. So my prediction for this point, ladies and gents, if you haven't watched the podcast, is we get told that Watchdogs Legion is coming in November. Are we going to get a date for it?
Then they came
what
from
I'm looking for.
protesters.
I feel we need one, to be honest. I do agree with your prediction.
Do you feel like it's moving towards that cyberpunk sort of aesthetic?
Leaning
That's
into
the
it
vibe
more.
I'm getting right now. Yeah. Because I don't feel like it was originally this
Then they came
sort
Well,
of...
Watchdogs has always confronted like modern tech, like hyper modern tech,
the journalists.
but in a realistic fashion. But
I agree.
yeah,
404.
It's very Big Brother, isn't it?
Artists,
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I did not speak out
that makes sense for the game.
because I am not a street artist.
Can confirm they've got the police sirens correct for London.
Did their research.
Although the massive drone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Don't see them in London, do you?
I don't know, I haven't been allowed down there in a while.
Yeah.
True.
Could be all over the place now.
I'm really loving the aesthetic, actually. I really dig this. I know it's not gameplay, but I think I like the direction they're going.
I've never played Watch Dogs game, so it'd be interesting to try.
I realised that eventually they'd come for me.
Iman's asking, can we whack up the volume of the video a little bit?
Video, yes. It's hard for me to hear you two, that's the problem.
I believe so. Dina says Ubisoft account access seems to be downloaded, but they can't log into accounts to claim Watch Dogs 2. We do know that anybody who is watching this event at the moment is able to claim Watch Dogs 2 on PC for free just by watching the Ubisoft Forward.
Wouldn't be London if it wasn't raining.
True that. Oh, a black cab.
Not entirely black.
There's hackney cabs. Hackney cabs.
Well. Welcome to the Resistance. There's a welcome gift for our new members.
But the disappearance of the criminal...
You could have told me it was a bloody...
They're definitely in an animal farm now.
Try it on.
The pighead
The new
zoo.
key suspect has been identified as David Ford,
That actually makes me want to
43-year-old London taxi driver. He has no criminal record, but is currently believed to be a terrorist.
And also say it's an
People have
important
been asked
novel to
not
be
to
honest as well.
approach him. The authorities advise all residents.
Reclaim your future.
I'm Clint Hawking.
Clint has been a longtime creative force here at Ubisoft, and now he's bringing this vision to Watchdogs Legion.
2020. Yeah, it's a 2020.
So yeah, what we just saw was an amazing short film by the director Alberto Mielgo that was inspired by Watchdogs Legion and looks at the game and the universe and the characters through his incredible artistic vision and visual style.
The city needs a resistance.
Like the film, Watchdogs Legion tells the story of ordinary heroes setting aside their differences in order to come together as a collective and to fight for a positive change. You can literally recruit and play anyone who you see in the open world. You profile people that are interesting to you, you help them with their problem, you play their origin
This
mission.
is one of the best aspects of the missions that got added on the last game.
Like a dead sick problem.
Hack their phone, find out what their
And
lives,
that's how you recruit them.
find
into
out
your
like the
team,
passcode
and then
for
they become the
their
heroes of the game
apartment and
the
access to
stars
that
of
way. I
your
can
story.
imagine this just getting deeper and deeper.
You with Albion?
Yeah.
Please, think more underground.
You with Albion?
I'm tickled, but think more underground.
What, DedSec? Yeah, right, and I'm Che Guevara. You done?
And
Dead
they
Sec
make the
were from
story
Watch Dogs 2
not
as
only
well. They were like
unique
the
to them,
underground
but
crew
unique to
there.
you as the player and personal to you because they're, heroes
Well, everyone
that you've
loves the
chosen
granny
and invested in.
from the early footage
What would I
of
say
the
to
gameplay.
fans? I guess I'd say, take care of
I'm glad
yourselves,
they
stay
brought it
safe.
back.
Welcome to the
Throwback to
Resistance.
Granny.
We've got created.
Welcome to the Resistance.
Our London town. A modern metropolis.
This looks more in-game engine.
Built on history and prosperity.
Here we go, yeah.
Only took 12,000 years to build it up, and one night to tear it all down.
Oh my god.
Listen up. Get all your units to move
Bloody
in
hell.
and lock down the city.
That's what I feel like needs to be said at some point here. They're going
With
hard
London
on like
under
the
attack by a
Cockney
mysterious
accent, aren't they?
terrorist,
Yeah, I mean, the
the government turns to a private military company called Albion to keep everyone safe. What could possibly go wrong?
West Bromwich Albion.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nigel Cass, CEO of Albion. He's kindly
Never
stepped
like
up
West
to
Brom.
establish order.
They're just a boring
I
team.
will not allow anyone, not even myself,
Turn to
to
Albion.
jeopardize this.
He will stop at nothing to permanently control the city.
Just take out Liam Gallagher there.
London will be the first city in the world to be made truly safe.
Someone needs to.
Richie throwing it out there, never like West Brom. Someone needs to take out Oasis.
Meet Mary Kelly, head of the most powerful crime syndicate in London.
I like Oasis music.
Spread the word.
She and her goons are using the dark web to sell everything,
Mary
from party
Kelly.
pills to people.
Looks like Dr. Cotton, doesn't it?
I was very EastEnders going on right now.
I've got to keep tracks on my merchandise, don't I? You made me a slave.
You do not want to ruffle her feathers.
Got some Order 66
really
inhibitor chip
hard.
going
Under its
there.
arse, it now falls on you to build a resistance and
They are
take
going
back
hard
London.
on that Cockney, aren't they, really?
Faces on, guns out.
Any of the brave Londoners you see walking the
James
streets
Bond, of
Do you know, I'm
course.
getting
can be
some
recruited
Saints
into
Row,
your
some
team.
Saints Row vibes from it, actually, as well.
Like him. Her.
Like a bit silly.
Or even her.
I hope they realise that not
Everyone can become your next secret weapon. In our
Jinx's in
first
chat
mission,
just said the
we
same
need to
thing.
get
He
some
said looks like
dirt on
Saints Row
Nigel
London. I'm
Cass, and
definitely
that means
feeling
breaking into
that at the
Albion
moment.
headquarters inside the Tower of London. All the hardy souls you see here are people we have recruited from the streets of London. They all have unique abilities, and you're free to tackle this mission with whoever you like.
Dear God, my eyes.
The bloke pretending to be James Bond, man.
Zip up, get to work, and let's never
The shards looking very
Ricky,
neon.
Construction worker.
Like everyone in DedSec, Arthur can hack pretty much whatever. But as a construction worker, he has a particular set of tools that make him handy.
Oh, how many times with the
He
wrench
can
do you
even
want to
call
hit
his
him?
own cargo drone. Perfect for gate crashing, when you're not invited. And who needs a regular
That's
old
cool,
gun
you
when you
can
have a
draw
bloody
to
nail
escape.
gun?
Oh, come here, you soy-doid shitboy.
That's a nail gun.
Oh, that sounds brutal.
Although
Perhaps we could
nail
approach
guns
this
are
mission
higher,
differently.
you
If
have
you'd
to
rather keep your
press against
distance,
something.
we've
Yeah,
got you
it's, no,
covered.
you say you've got to literally have that contact. with the
Amy
word.
is a drone expert,
What have we here?
I
a
suppose you can
real
roll it.
tech connoisseur.
Hate spiders, but love this one.
I think she likes to break drones.
What an adorable creepy crawler.
Why does she look like she's wearing a
Let's class the
multi
place up.
A drone expert does
Yeah, it's
have
weird
the
how many
unique
games now
ability
just
to summon
basically
their own
act as though the
drone. This
holographic
little
stuff
darling
is
fast
real in
and
this world.
stealthy.
She aimed, she fired, she hit.
Oh, I got some-
I'm reading incoming drones.
Yeah, this game is certainly not taking
She can
itself
also
as
hack enemy
serious as the
drones,
first one
turning
did.
the tide in her favor.
Oh no, it isn't.
And if you are not into direct confrontation, there are more
Granny.
ways than one to get the job done.
Bring on the granny, surely.
Recruiting an Albion officer like Brielle here might be challenging, but it'll get you inside restricted Albion areas.
So it's great, it definitely looks like you can approach any mission through
However,
about 20
do
different
anything
variations
suspicious and
depending on
she'll
the character.
probably wind up with a bullet in the back of her head.
It just looks like a huge amount of fun. I kind of want to have some cops, see some
We're
cops.
missing the human element here. I can get the defense minister on the line.
Playing with
right
other
now.
people to do your mission.
If you feel you must.
Cool.
Maybe.
Oh, almost like, you know, you can with the Division where it's almost drop in, drop out.
Criminals running our streets.
There's a coffee
Illegals
logo as well.
threatening our
to,
families.
buy
The
Munich-
police
buy
commissioner
Munich logo.
himself.
See, I thought it looked like the
Assassinated by
Costa logo a
terrorists.
little bit.
Well, that seems to be enough evidence. Next up, we're crashing Mary Kelly's organ farming operation and putting a stop to it.
That's good. The buyers expect high quality stuff.
And we need a hard nut for this.
Impairing our frontal lobe again, are we?
Bags, don't disturb me in my natural habitat.
Say hello to Mickey. The man lives for his team
That put another hair on my chest.
and doesn't mind getting his hands dirty.
He's wearing a West Ham t-shirt.
Yeah, it's something United. It's just, yeah.
I think it's telling that he's got like a jacket on hiding the badge. That's clearly
Yeah,
West
yeah,
Ham,
yeah.
but they
He
can't
does have a
actually
slight
use the branding.
drinking problem, though.
Excellent.
And Andy's
football
passed out.
hooliganism.
We'll come back to him. You know what?
I think West
Let's go with someone a bit more professional.
We've got some hitman level
It's
shit
almost
going on
crass
now.
to call him a hitman.
Oh, yeah. It's our own personal John Wick.
He's got a price tag on the back of his helmet.
After the mission.
Some might even call him an artist.
Yeah, it's definitely. This is more like John Wick vibes.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
This is-
Headshot.
Yeah.
It's the quick shots when you're right up against them and you're still popping them like 3 or 4 times.
Here's the bastard responsible. Done and dusted.
Not bad if I do say so, innit?
Not everyone in London is a legendary assassin or a super spy, but everyone can be a hero. So get out there, find the best recruits.
Alexander in chat says just saw Stadia uploaded a Ghost Recon Breakpoint teammates trailer. I guess that's coming in the next forward. Interesting find there. Thank you
It's
for
time
sharing.
to take back London.
They did show that prior to this in one of the warm-ups, so it could be pretty cool to see that. I suppose it's an update.
We got a date.
So it's expected.
We got a date.
What's the date?
Plunging the player into a living, breathing city, teeming with
October
unique locales
29th.
and characters, has always been a central
Does
pillar
that
of
count?
the Watch Dogs series.
No, it doesn't.
So what goes into building those worlds?
It's October.
Here's Amanda Munt
Count
to
as
tell us
November.
more.
Oh, come on! I said November.
My name's Amanda Munt.
Why you do
I'm
this to me?
a
Why you
level
do this
artist
to me?
on
Ubisoft?
Watchdogs Legion at Ubisoft Toronto.
I've literally haven't got the string up anymore.
Being a
Google
level
Chrome
artist, I
decided
think, is the
completely
coolest
crash.
job in
Back
video
up as soon
games
as I
because we do get the freedom to kind of like pick and choose what little details we want to depict, and we get ample opportunities to
So we're watching
tell the
some
stories that we want to
behind
tell in the
the
spaces that we're
scenes.
assigned to.
I'm actually going to use that.
I
as
have
an
the capacity to
opportunity
hide
see if
things
I can
and-
pause the video and come more in sync with you guys.
You know, like small little Easter eggs.
Yeah, no problem.
In
Because I think
AC
you two are
Unity,
a few
there was a
moments. Well,
boat somewhere
Richie
in the world
was.
that
I don't know what he's
covered in
doing now.
cats.
He's just texting someone on his
I'm
phone.
currently looking
And
at
then
a load of
it happened
Assassin's
again in
Creed.
Watch Dogs
bring
2,
the stream full while it
and
gets
there may
set.
or may not
Oh,
be
yeah,
something
easy.
in London that
Catches
is
up,
a
so
boat filled with
I
cats
can
in some
at least
capacity.
see what's going on.
I was fortunate
On
enough to go to
stage.
E3 last year. Some of the people that I
Backstage
was
now.
showing our demo to were from London. So no matter where I dropped them in the city, they'd go, "Oh my God, this feels like Camden. This feels like Southwark. This feels like
Camden
Westminster."
Town.
When people are talking
Yeah.
about some detail that I've put
London
into
Eye.
the world and they're excited about it, like that feels so good as somebody who.
I'm definitely intrigued to
builds
play a
these worlds
game
with care.
somewhere that I'm more familiar
love it.
with. Like Watch Dogs 2 was San Francisco, Watch Dogs 1 was, I would say Chicago, I feel like. Be very interesting to play it locally. Oh, we've changed games.
And now some news for Brawlhalla fans.
Richie, you're
In just
like
a
this
few
one, I think.
weeks, you'll be able to battle it out with your favorite legends on iOS and Android devices.
iOS and
Oh wow,
Android.
Brawlhalla is coming. Yeah, Brawlhalla comes to mobile. So for those of you who've not seen Brawlhalla before,
3,
think of it like
2,
Smash Brothers, but
1,
very 2D art. I mean, you get to see footage right now, so you'll know what I'm talking about.
I think, if I remember right, it's free on Switch.
Yeah, it's free on all platforms. So now it's coming to iOS and Android too. Right.
I played a bit of it, but I bought Smash on Switch. But then I bought Smash.
I quite like that for mobile integration, changing the button touch screen locations for things. Anybody who played Awesome Noughts as well, it's very similar to Awesome Noughts when that came out too.
And now, whether you need a Tom Clancy action
Look at
fix
him on
the
his
go,
orange
or
pedestal.
want to dive back into one of the most beloved fantasy franchises in gaming, we've got you covered.
Might of Magic, wow.
Oh, okay.
I've not seen a Might of Magic game in a long time. Some Stadia colours in there, right?
I thought I saw something.
It's a very choice colour palette.
lots of things being shown on a mobile screen. I'm pretty sure you can figure that one out.
Right, I think I'm back up and running now properly.
Oh. Join the battle for a rally.
Right. So it's no for Watchdogs for you, Tom.
I'm so gutted about that. I'm so gutted. I was so close. Whoa. Brutal.
Now.
The target is being held on the ground floor.
That looks like a map from Rainbow Six Siege, but it's got a Fortnite aesthetic.
Yeah.
Well, everything's Fortnite now. Maybe that's the big announcement. Rainbow Six Siege is got a new Fortnite, and it's more like Fortnite.
Does that guy with the shield look like the Castle Siege character as well?
Yeah. How crazy would it be if this was like Rainbow Six Elite Squad and it's basically just a siege code?
Contact! Montaigne is down. Request air support. Target northeast
rooftop. We're going to reuse the same
Roger.
characters in the same
Inbound,
maps.
danger close.
But
I need an EMP deployed now.
EMP imminent.
Is that Splinter Cell on the top? Little goggles on.
Well, right, if you're thinking Watchdogs Legion is coming out on the 29th of October, maybe we are looking at the next gen consoles coming out towards the end of October at this point.
It seems like then. I think September, October is like where I'm expecting.
Did you botch that, Chris?
That is Sam Fisher.
Yes.
Don't make me
That was
regret
Sam
this.
Fisher.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting though.
So what is it?
Actually Sam Fisher.
Tom Clancy's Elite Squad.
I called it Tom Clancy.
That was mobile
Speaking
though.
of Tom Clancy, it's been 5 years since Rainbow Six Siege first launched, and the community has never been stronger. In celebration of this milestone, Ubisoft Montreal has put together a special video to thank all of the amazing players and developers that have helped Siege become the game it is today.
Spaghetti says, just wondering if anyone else is having trouble to sign into Uplay.
In December 2015, a small team released Rainbow Six Siege.
It's so long ago.
A game built on a strong vision, creativity, competitiveness, and team play.
It's got to be the next gen announcement. Like, how is Siege going to go forward with next gen? Because they're not going to just want to drop it and start again at this point.
That original vision was quickly adopted by our passionate community, propelling it to a whole new level.
And bring out a new season.
You and any of this footage, Tom?
This is such a special moment, and being at 1 year anniversary of Rainbow Six now, game being stronger than ever, more players today than we had in the past, it means the world to us.
But we also had our share of challenges.
Oh, admitting challenges, that's interesting.
Health that touches upon subjects like matchmaking, connectivity, all those aspects are absolutely critical to the experience of the player.
About 5 seconds behind this.
Through it all, we're always driven by you, our community, and together, we grow stronger.
There is no sequel plan, and we're here for the next 10 years, so expect more Rainbow Six in your life for quite some time.
We're here for the next 10 years, did he just say?
Look at this. 10-year plan. 10-year plan.
I don't know, just stopped again.
Bloke with an upside down moustache.
Tous les succès, c'est vraiment le résultat de autant de nous que de vous. Ce jeu, il est autant le vôtre qu'il est de l'autre, nous, l'équipe de développement.
Now 60 million players
the language
strong.
of love, Chris.
We're just getting started.
60 million players.
Quite a few players.
From the devs that build the game
Can't
to the
knock a
community
game
that
for
plays
having
it,
that many people playing it.
thank you.
Thank you to our 60 mil.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried it yet, dive into our new Operation Steel Wave update available now and take Ace and Malusi out for a spin.
A few days ago, we introduced y'all to a brand new multiplayer shooter. Now, it's time to venture into the hyperscape.
You said y'all.
Y'all. I admit I love the concept for hyperscape. I like they're trying to do what is clearly very popular at the moment, but with a twist on it, and I like that.
Oh. What was that? A hack in the hyperscape. That's not supposed to be there.
Some Ready Player One shit, isn't it?
Speed, okay? About 30 years ago, everything that we feared about our future started to come true. We made some good decisions. We made some bad decisions. Actually, we made a lot of bad decisions.
The Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, drawing the gun on it.
10 billion souls living in the crush of the megacities.
It's crazy how many Ubisoft games rely on our human dystopian futures.
Yeah.
Well, most of the Tom Clancy games, that's why.
Yeah, that's very true.
They gave everyone a way out.
Yeah, it's very Ready Player One.
Hyperscape.
The B-Link.
In the hyperscape, the biggest draw by far
cool
is
name though,
Crown
hyperscape.
Rush. This is where anyone can become someone.
I wonder, because like, say hyperscape is like the biggest thing with Crown Rush, which is like a battle royale. I wonder if there's room for other game modes.
Perhaps, I mean, Fortnite has several different modes, not just the Battle Royale. There are a lot of modes for Fortnite. So it's very much known for that.
So everyone who's saying Utah's down in the comments, I have a feeling it might be down until there might be an intention that it will be down while they refresh the servers and pushed everything live.
If you get good
yeah, possibly means we're going to get something brand new.
It can change your life.
Perhaps.
But strange things have been happening lately. Rumors of people getting hurt.
Spaghetti says played this last week. It's very, very
users disappearing from the real world.
I get that vibe from it, from what I've seen too.
A darker secret.
I'd love to see Agent Smith appear somewhere in the hyperscape. Mr. Anderson.
Some of us are searching for a way up.
I am a bit more intrigued.
Some of us for a way out. And for others,
like as far as battle royales go, this like the aesthetic of this
that's
is
what
far
brings
more
us to the edge of the future,
than others.
To the hyperscape.
The aesthetic's very Assassin's Creed Unity to me. It looks like they took all the assets from Paris and basically put them into this.
JC's work on Far Cry Primal and multiple Prince of Persia titles has established him as a top creative here at Ubisoft.
For me, what's exciting is we started building it from scratch. Seeing it grow, adding ideas is really cool.
Hello, contender. Welcome to the hyperscape.
The game takes place in 2054. It's in a future where humanity has grown a little darker. One of the companies there, they are launching what's called the hyperscape, which is a virtual world, the internet of the future. It's the place where everything converges. Within the virtual world, there is a battle royale that takes place in the virtual city of Neo Arcadia.
Neo Arcadia.
I know it is a virtual world, but if we're doing this by 2054,
then we also introduce a lot of new things.
I can die and be uploaded to the cloud.
On the rooftops,
where
it's much more narrow, much more stressful. You get to go to the landmarks where there's more opportunities to get cool items, but also more players, so it's a risk-reward kind of deal. We introduce the notion of hacks, special abilities that you can pick up on the fly to adapt your tactics. With hacks, you can do things like teleport yourself, you can wrap yourself into a ball and bounce around the battlefield.
Hamster ball time!
So a lot of abilities that let you have fun.
Who doesn't want to be a hamster, eh?
And finally, it's made as a spectacle, so all the viewers will be able to interact with the game on different levels through the Twitch extension.
It's crazy how every Ubisoft game has that kind of art style too, where it's quintessentially Ubisoft. Like, even though it's just like this is very Fortnite in a way, but it still looks very Ubisoft.
Stuff like that. So players, while this happens, really have to adapt to all kinds of stuff that is happening. So for me, it's really exciting because right now, as we speak, we're launching the open beta, and so it's going to be available for free-to-play for all PC players worldwide. I really want to thank all the players, all the streamers, and all the viewers who participated in tech test and who participated in the open beta. Here's a short glimpse of what you can expect.
The whole world, they generated a low gravity event.
So that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you imagine it takes it across 100 different streamers, people streaming it online, and people voting in those chats. Whatever the overall vote comes out to, that's what gets implemented in everyone's world. So in the world, they're all playing it. I like that.
I'm coming around.
That's mine.
Probably not going to play a lot of it.
Let's show them what I'm made of.
Play a lot of online games, but
go time.
I just got far too much stuff to play at the moment.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I don't know, what do you think of Hyperscape, chat? Let us know. How do you think it's going to rack up against things like Fortnite and Apex? Do you think any of the different the things like the hats and the crowd voting is going to have an impact in terms of people's opinions? Do you think it's a good addition?
I just like the way there's no ring to kind of weld the roads around you. So like you could be hiding, so there's no one going to be able to camp because the walls could literally erode and just disappear.
Oh yeah.
Open beta July 12th. That's today.
The digital world of the Hyperscape gave our artists and developers incredible freedom when it came to designing characters.
Production manager Anna Maria Musca is going to take us behind the scenes of character design.
They've took Battle Royale, but instead of being the whole
My name is Anna Maria Musca. I'm the production manager for characters and weapons on Hyperscape.
Took a different approach.
We have paid an exceptional amount of detail to our characters. We switch different outfits, different fashion statements, different tattoos, different materials until we see them as real individuals, as real people.
Similar to
so
what we
the
had in the
second you
podcast.
pick a character, you see them in game, you understand what their motivations are and what drives them and what challenges them.
I'm going to drop my camera just for a moment and refresh it just while we're going through these.
This was the first lineup of characters. This is our default base.
Sorry, we're on.
Even starting from the hair down, everything has been meticulously thought of. Would this person actually like this type of outfit? Would this person
Do you think in digital events like
the
this they need to showcase this kind of behind the scenes stuff? Or should it be just left to like a YouTube featurette?
Each season we plan to produce new outfits for these characters.
Do we know how long this event's supposed to be, by
some
the
of
way?
our players are gonna
see
the effort and
maybe
even
early hours of the morning, Chris.
I've got my Vinto.
Relatively
we're very excited to see it in people's hands.
Showcasing just like 3 or 4 games, going more depth is a good thing. But if you've got a lot of stuff to
As
go
we move
through,
into the next generation of gaming, Ubisoft has been working closely with console makers to take advantage of all the extraordinary capabilities these new consoles will offer.
Now we have a special guest to tell us a little more.
Hey everyone, Phil Spencer from Xbox.
Whoa.
With Watchdogs Legion, Ubisoft is supporting smart delivery. So you will get the absolute best version of the game on any version of Xbox you're playing on. On Series X, you'll get to take advantage of the amazing work the team has done with DirectX ray tracing to create an absolutely immersive version of London like you've never seen before. Ubisoft has a unique ability to create immersive worlds, setting a new bar that continues to drive our industry forward. I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. I love the time I've spent exploring the world in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I can't wait for you to see the gameplay from Assassin's Creed Valhalla that's coming up now.
They got Phil Spencer back to talk about
this game since it was announced back in April. And now it's time for a deep dive into the world of Vikings.
My name is Julien Laferrière, and I'm the producer of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So, one of my predictions...
So a couple of weeks ago, we announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and the reaction from the fans was just amazing. The time period of Vikings is really, really inspiring. When we did our research, we found that, they were not mindless barbarians. Vikings were actually farmers trying to find new lands for them to settle. And so they had really human motivations. So for us to have this opportunity to tell kind of the real story about Vikings and kind of separate ourselves from the myths and the folklore is really something that drove us to make this game.
Separate from myths of
the
folklore,
team went to Norway and England to take the same road that the Vikings
with
did,
gods and lightning
to really
and everything.
Experience what it meant to be a Viking at that
but
time.
I think with Assassin's Creed, they tend to do
And
that
then
in the
leaving
DLC.
Norway, which is
the main
barren
series
but
game tends to be a
majestic,
bit more
and
grounded.
just coming
I don't know, there was a
by
Cyclops
boat
in Odyssey just stood on
in
an island
England
waiting for
and
you.
see those rolling green hills
Wasn't that part
full of
DLC
sheep,
though?
full of life.
Didn't that come later?
It's just this moment that most likely the Vikings felt as well. You need to see this land of opportunity.
Get reports, guys,
and
that
this is exactly the feeling
are now
we
working,
want
so if you want
players
to
to experience in this game. It is a personal adventure, you know. It is the story of Eivor, a Viking chieftain. Eivor is either a male or a female. You decide when you start the game. They will have to leave Norway to settle in England because you just can't live in Norway anymore. There's too much political pressure, no resources available. Obviously, in England, it's full of Anglo-Saxons and other people, and they don't really want you there. So you will have to fight your way there to kind of build your own settlement and see your clan prosper.
After visiting Norway, though, I do in a heartbeat. If cheeseburger and a pint.
Vikings were brutal warriors.
Nearly 50 quid.
But it depends how much you're earning,
That's true.
And the fact that they were mastering a lot of
Prices
weapons coming from the medieval times really inspired us to kind of revamp the fight system.
That's what happens with imports, obviously outside the EU.
To leverage the brutality and the intensity of Viking combat.
Everything's homegrown.
Vikings were not only fighting face-to-face, they were masters of stealth and deception when needed.
I'm doing.
They used basically any sort of tactics they could use to win the battle. So we want to portray the full range of combat that you can imagine coming from the Vikings.
Took down the mountain.
We are very happy to finally be able to show you the game we've all been working on.
I've already showed us some games.
So please enjoy this deep dive into Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Here we go. Here we go.
In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you will relive the epic saga of the Viking invasion of England.
He crashed a boat into a castle.
You play as Eivor, a Viking from Norway, who will lead his or her battle-hardened warriors across the North Sea to the British Isles.
It's a bit more
Eivor
like
is driven by an ambitious goal to build a thriving Norse settlement in a hostile
Mighty Joe
land.
Young, Fast and the Furious.
It is time we go a Viking. Today we raid. Tomorrow we may build.
Charlize Theron.
England is a dark age tangle of broken kingdoms and warring dynasties, a land of opportunity and riches.
The Horn of
As you
Gondor.
prowl England's rivers by longship, you may raid locations you spot from the shoreline.
This is
Ground
cool
your ship
raids, okay.
and blow your horn to lead your raiding crew into battle.
Oh, that's cool. Setting the house on fire.
Yeah, I like that.
There's another good thatch roof burning, eh?
The thing is, like, a lot of people are calling this saying it looks too much like Odyssey, but we love Odyssey.
It's an Assassin's Creed game, what do you expect?
I know Assassin's Creed has never really been massively innovative.
For
it's
one
just
set of arms.
baby steps between each.
Whatever riches and resources you
But the
pillage
aesthetic,
may be
just
used
like
to develop your
the
settlement,
Norwegian skin
giving
on
you
top of it
access
is
to
great.
useful services,
I love it.
better tools, and new settlers.
This is your homestead.
At
This
the
is a
heart of
new
your
feature
settlement
that's
is the
set.
Alliance map. It will serve as a record of the allies you have made, and a guide for future opportunities. The Viking Age was a time of warriors and legends. In Valhalla, you will find the largest variety of enemies ever assembled in an Assassin's
Do
Creed
you know when
game.
Brits are that tall, that chunky?
Every archetype offers a unique challenge. Some will coordinate with their allies for special attacks, while others will use nearby objects to their advantage, including the bodies of fallen warriors. To face these attacks, you must find and exploit your opponent's weaknesses to gain the upper hand.
Shield.
Take the fight to your foes with a host of brutal new combat abilities. Snare them with a Viking harpoon. pummel them with throwing axes.
The Viking harpoon.
Incapacitate them with the new stun system to keep them at a distance, or finish them off. Dual wield any 2 weapons you wish to unleash a deadly combination of attacks.
Dual wielding.
Customize your fighting style as you see fit and become a legendary Viking warrior.
What do we think, guys? What do we think, chat?
All combinations of weapons are available to dual wield, including 2 shields.
I want to see if they remove some of the features from Odyssey.
Some Captain America shield action going on there. Oh, severed.
Not all situations call for violence. In this new land, a Viking must find a way to adapt.
Bring back some old mechanics.
Wow! They're bringing back
not welcome in England.
Wow, they're bringing back
you may
the
need to
blend
outsmart your
mechanic.
enemies,
just talked about
avoiding
this in the
unwanted
last
attention in towns and bustling cities. Use Eivor's hood and cloak to blend with crowds and slip past watchful eyes.
It now looks more like an actual
unseen hunter among the people.
That's how I'm feeling. Like that's one mechanic that I kind of wish they could get rid of.
I'm just looking at it. They're in Lincoln there.
From capital cities and villages to the dense forests and rolling hills of England, exploration is vital to keeping yourself sharp. You must feed off the land if you hope to
Benny
endure.
Hunter says it looks early at the moment. Yeah, it.
Hunt and forage to replenish your health and fortify your equipment.
Day and date with Jeff. But hey, I've been proven wrong
Search
already.
pagan temples and Roman ruins for new activities and challenges to strengthen yourself
it's
and your
2020,
settlement.
it's coming out, so...
Oh, that was Stonehenge there.
The more you explore, the more of England's secrets you will reveal.
Oh, a raven.
Ravens, show no mercy!
But as you push deeper into England, the enemy will push back. In a series of climactic moments, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will feature massive assaults in which you will lead Eivor's army into battle against heavily guarded Saxon fortresses.
Today we will reclaim her. Today we fight for your land. And tomorrow we rebuild.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will transport you to wondrous and haunted lands, inspired by Norse myths.
That was very grounded, Richie.
It will challenge and surprise, with unforgettable characters, thrilling triumphs, and tragic losses, giving you the chance to live your own Viking saga.
If it's announced in the Porsche, it's still
I don't know. I was like 2 days off.
That's my birthday.
November 17th.
9th century England is truly unlike anything the franchise has seen before. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will release this holiday season on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Stadia.
And Stadia.
We're close to wrapping up today, but before we go, our CEO, Yves Guillemot, is here to share a few words.
I hope you will have enjoyed what you have seen today, and that you will love playing these games. I'm proud of our teams for delivering an ambitious, broad, and creative lineup of games. And we haven't shown you everything yet. In fact, we have a lot more to come. So you will have another Ubisoft Forward to reveal even more about our upcoming games. But before ending this show, we have one more thing to share with you.
One more thing.
I want to have one more thing. I felt like this has been quite a thin show, to be honest.
Yeah, they focused heavily.
Oh, I wonder what the one more thing could be.
Oh my god, come on. Like... Starring Giancarlo Esposito. There we go.
Wonder what this could be. I feel like we're ready to watch a movie now, lads.
Yeah. It's very James Bond.
GoldenEye. Ubisoft.
Ubisoft 007.
The leaves will be coated in blood.
Like a James Bond intro.
That's got that vibe to it, hasn't it? Ubisoft streamer pointing out the fact that Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they didn't announce it for Steam.
Did they announce it for PC though?
I was too busy enjoying what I was looking at.
Pesticides everywhere.
Still just like it's really, really good. It's really, really artistic. But it's so James Bond intro, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, there he is with his son.
But it's a pass.
It's focusing on the sun quite a bit.
Maybe you play as the sun. That'd be a twist.
1 point for Tom.
What? Yeah. What would you do if you actually play as the sun, but then it is revealed at the end of the game he actually is Vass?
Fuerzas ultrapenetrantes, estamos cansados de los farsantes, de
It's beautiful, amigo. Perfect, but useless. I have something for you, Diego. Give me your hands.
Papa.
Now, the grenade is simple. It has 4 basic parts.
Maniac.
The shell.
Father of the Air Award right there.
The fuse.
Happy birthday, son. He's a hand grenade.
And of course, the pin.
What are you doing?
Breathe, Diego. Breathe. The pin simply holds the handle in place. It is only when you let go that this grenade goes boom.
Happy birthday.
Now.
Play quietly.
You would be bricking it right now, wouldn't you?
I am El Presidente. Which means that someday
don't sneeze, don't do anything. Just hold this grenade.
And our people, they do not know how to be happy. They are torn apart.
Don't tell me it's gonna get the kid to throw the grenade into the crowd from the balcony. Oh shit.
By their own freedoms. And even if you have love in your heart, even if you want what's best for them, if you only want to save them from themselves, they will hate you, Diego. Everything you say, do, believe, will be wrong.
He's kind of tense right now.
A little bit.
Oh, here's the scene.
They will answer you with screams. Call you evil.
Yeah, they're gonna call you evil because you're about to throw a grenade at them.
And give you this. So you tell me, are you evil? Are you a monster? Because our country is like this grenade, except it has 2 basic parts. Our people. And you must clutch them nice and tight, or we all go boom. Boom. You understand now? Prove it.
18th of February 2021.
And with that, we're wrapping up our first Ubisoft Forward.
No Prince of Persia either, Chris.
Today, we've seen the next generation of Assassin's Creed.
There wasn't a lot of anything, really.
The birth of the Resistance in Watchdogs Legion. The cyber chaos of Hyperscape. And the epic reveal of Far Cry's newest installment, along with so much more.
It's going to be a fairly regular
Remember,
thing.
we'll be back later this year with another Ubisoft Forward filled with tons of game news and updates.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for...
Thanks, Ubisoft team.
Thanks, Ubisoft team.
Thanks, Ubisoft team.
So, gentlemen, I don't know if they're just going to wrap up with a montage here. It looks like. But while we leave that montage playing in the background, let's summarise. So we've got a date for Watch Dogs, Tom. We got a date for Watch Dogs, which was October 29th. And your prediction was for when?
November.
Just missed it. Just
2
missed
days.
It. By the hair of a Viking axe. And we also got dates for Valhalla, which was November 17th. We got that in there. And we also just at the end there, nice birthday gift for Richie. And we also got at the end there, we got the 18th of February 2021 for Far Cry 6. So then, I'll hand it over to you, past Chris, in the podcast, the ghost of podcast past, for our reactions to the Ubisoft Forward event, which just happened this Sunday. Seems weird for everyone live in the chat watching along, but we recorded the podcast. We're going to drop this into the podcast as our reactions. That's why it sounds confusing as shit, but I forgive you not. We'll clear it up with our reactions right now. So, first takes, Tom, what did you think of the very first Ubisoft Forward event?
I was expecting more. I'm going to be absolutely straightforward with that. Like, I don't feel there was enough there to get hyped about. Like, I was thought the footage was cool. Great. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw some real good gameplay and the mechanics of Watchdogs Legion and what they've done with the game since we last heard of it. Hyperscape looks brilliant. Very much excited for that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, excellent. But other than that, it's just a little bit of, like, nothing. I hate to say it. I mean, Ubisoft games are great, and we can always expect good things from them. But I almost feel like, I don't know. I feel like they waste a lot of time by just talking about stuff behind the scenes. I feel like they're worried that if they took the behind-the-scenes stuff out, that the video would just be really short and people would be like, "What's the point?" Yeah.
Richie? I kind of 100%. I'm 100% agree. It just feels like what we saw was great, but I kind of want more. Like, I was expecting more.
Yeah.
Was there even anything new there apart from it's just more information about stuff we already know, wasn't it?
Well, technically, Far Cry 6 was new, but just due to leaks, we went as maybe as caught off guard as we would have been. I would have appreciated going into that trailer more with all the James Bond aesthetics and the music and the tones, not knowing what it was. For then the reveal of the Far Cry 6 would have been like, oh, fantastic, that's awesome. But yeah, again, the leaking that ahead of time does kind of take it away from the landing impact a little bit. Is there one last thing? Seeing more Valhalla, fantastic. Again, we said throughout the stream there, it looks like Odyssey with a Viking skin over it, which isn't a bad thing to say the least. Odyssey got a lot of Game of the Year nomination nods. It was a lot of people's favourite game of 2019. 2018? 2018. 2018. Again, we're not great with time travel if you've not understood that already.
First time doing it.
Yeah. First rookie mistakes will happen. I mean, the footage that we can see right on screen right now is just... It looks like more Odyssey. Yes, they said you got dual-wielding weapons, which is great to know. You've got your homestead now. Throwback to Assassin's Creed 3. You're going to be able to upgrade them then. They added some new villain characters in, some new enemy types. Looks like attacking fortresses and stuff with like drawbridges. There's going to be different stages to taking down strongholds, essentially. But all in all, we didn't really see that much out of it. I didn't think.
We got a return of more stealth mechanics.
Yeah.
Which I personally think is a good thing, because I know they're trying to go a bit more RPG-y, but it's still an Assassin's Creed game.
What I'm worried about with Assassin's Creed Valhalla is knowing what British weather is stereotypically like, and I'm sure there's also some history to it too. But I am worried that the Britain part of it will be very grey and be very sort of like you won't get the full feel of it. Like you'll want to probably spend more time in Norway or like the Scandinavian region, seeing the Northern Lights at night and the snow and so on. Whereas for me, it's going to be like rainy.
I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that because I think Ubisoft, especially with Assassin's Creed, try to get a certain element of realism in the world they create.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be elements where it is kind of overcast and grey and stuff, but Britain isn't always just grey and miserable. It can actually be a very beautiful place to be at times. So I trust Ubisoft to actually do the legwork to find that out.
Yeah. Looks like they've got the decision-making elements back though as well. Just looks like a Witcher 3 shot right there. Again, massive open world RPG that we've got. So yeah, we actually saw some gameplay, to be fair. Thetford, is that just Thetford, do we think? That location there?
Probably.
So apologies to audio listeners, we are just talking over footage that's now looping. In terms of the game, I mean, I was sold on it anyway beforehand, but just seeing more of it, just kind of, I want to get it now. And then knowing that it drops on November 17th. They did say it's coming to Stadia, which we knew anyway, but it's nice to see that confirmation at the time of actually seeing it. The other big game that they spent, in my opinion, probably a bit too long on was Watchdogs Legion. They opened with Watchdogs Legion with a cinematic kind of small movie, and then they went into some actual gameplay mechanics of it. Obviously, we got the date, to Tom's disappointment, October 29th, which is not too far away. Obviously, we should have all been playing Watchdogs Legion by now. Any new thoughts on Watchdogs, gentlemen?
I really like it. I really like the direction they've taken with it. And as far as Watchdogs games go, I've never really been taken by the first two. I definitely wasn't taken by the first one. Mm-hmm. The second, I didn't really manage to delve much into. But certainly the aesthetic of this and the sort of, as I said when we actually watched the event, it's almost got like a Saints Row feel to it, and I think that sort of not taking itself seriously element with that little bit of humor on the side really sort of makes it a little bit more appealing to me, because again, there's something. I mean, my keyword for the day is charm. There's something a little bit charming about literally just taking the piss with the game a little sometimes. It's just. If you can make fun, if you can poke fun at yourself, then sure, go for it. Brilliant. Makes you a better person. Makes you a better game.
Kingsbury, indeed it does.
I think it looks exciting. I'm similar to you. Like the Watch Dogs has never. I've just never been interested in it, but this actually looks pretty cool. Looks like they're doing some interesting stuff. Very, very Big Brother, like 1940. What? Oh. 1984 and like Animal Farm sort of vibes going on, which I think will make a very interesting narrative.
So are you saying the guy with the pig face mask is Napoleon from Animal Farm?
It's clearly inspired by it. In the trailer, they were definitely paraphrasing some of the more common lines out of the novel.
Interesting stuff. In terms of Watch Dogs itself, it's obviously hitting home at a time when the world's very weird, and I think that it's probably for the betterment that they're leaning into more that wacky, zany, neon colour cyberpunk approach almost, because it's almost kind of hitting too close to home right now with lockdown, everything's still going on. I'm glad they've leaned more into the humorous side of things with you get to play as a granny instead. And I can totally see that the delays maybe benefited them in terms of the marketing. I personally really enjoyed the first two Watch Dogs game. Got the Platinum Trophy on PlayStation in both 1 and 2. I also enjoyed number 2 much more when they did lean more heavily into the kind of the fun stuff with the drones and the hacking, as opposed to it all being like a serious story. And this just looks more of the same with the masks, the different layouts. More importantly, I think the approach to when you can take on enemy bases and stuff. It looks like you can approach it with 8, 9, 10 different characters, and they all bring different things to the approach. Did you two have a particular favourite character that jumped out in the collection they showed us?
Not really, to be honest.
I kind of liked the drone play style. I liked the idea of being able to do things there. I mean, the John Wick character was very, obviously very much sort of like your hitman type bloke, really. Who else did we see? We saw the construction worker as well, who just went completely ham on that bloke with a wrench.
He did indeed.
I just feel like there's going to be so much versatility to it that I imagine at some point, knowing the way that Ubisoft games typically work, that not every single person you recruit is going to be purely unique. There's going to be some sort of trait that carries across certain, certain archetypes. Like you're going to have like your bruisers or something. You're going to have like a big heavy weapon. You're going to have like your techie people with the drones. You're a stealthy people with like the hitman assassination type.
You just probably common people who you're not expecting. They're not probably going to have much like real abilities, but probably more likely to blend in.
I feel like it might even be like procedurally generated. So like they create a character, they generate a name from a list of names, and then it also pulls like 3 traits for that person, of which it builds, it builds that persona for them, really. That's the kind of feeling that I'm going to get from it.
Each almost like class will have like a list of traits that I just pulls from.
Yeah. One I will address, watching so much Watch Dogs and then overlap that with some Assassin's Creed Valhalla, do games look very similar to you guys? Like in terms of just like, I know a lot of Ubisoft sometimes get a bit of stick for being, they all look the same. Seeing them kind of like so close together back to back of new titles, it's kind of like, especially with the upgrade mechanics and the skill tree approaches, and then attacking, both one in Watch Dogs attacking like a military base, it looks like, or it was the Tower of London, right? So it genuinely is, the Tower of London could actually be in Valhalla, just the old edition version of it. In terms of like the actual like visual fidelity and stuff, obviously it's all work in progress still. They all look like Ubisoft games still, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are Ubisoft games, but I think
correct, Richie.
The key difference is, the key difference between them is going to be very much a play style, where Valhalla, you're very much, he's your character, you're playing through a single player narrative. Where I think with Watch Dogs, it's going to be almost about the team, almost Ocean's 11 sort of feeling, where like you're going to assemble a team to do this particular job. Yeah. So I think they're
going to break in the Tower of London with your crew.
So there's going to be a lot of commonalities behind. They're probably going to use the same game engine, but I think they'll feel like different games when you get in there.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'd hope so. I'd hope there's a distinguishing factors. Speaking of games that don't look too different but also look exactly the same, we got a Tom Clancy game announced for iOS and mobile, right? Fortnite aesthetics with Sam Fisher thrown in there for the mix for a good crack. Thoughts on that one, gentlemen? Nice and quick.
Fine.
Bit of a waste of Mr. Fisher.
I feel like it's just like clinging on to an IP that that people have near and dear to their hearts, and they're sort of like having a bit of a throwback with it. Let's put him into this janky looking kids game.
The thing is, there's been a couple of times where they've brought Sam Fisher in as DLC and stuff like this, almost like a hero character in several games. Like, it's weird that they're doing it. It's the know it's a beloved character. They know there's a big passionate fan base behind Splinter Cell. I still think they're building up to something. It's almost like the teasing. Otherwise, it's like every single time they bring it, it's almost like, so you're not going to bring Splinter Cell?
Yeah, it's like this is what you could have, but he's a lesser version of it almost.
It's almost like Ubisoft telling us, yes, we're aware, he still exists.
Yeah, he's still a thing. We haven't forgot. He's a Fortnite skin of him, basically, for a different game. We also got some updates for Brawlhalla and Rainbow Six Siege. So it's great to see that Rainbow Six Siege thanked their 60 million players, which is a crazy number in itself. No new announcements, disappointingly, for Siege. It was just more of just a thank you message for the audience. I expect to see a bit more. In terms of addressing the elephant in the room then, that's pretty much it for what we actually seen from the event. Ubisoft Forward spanned, it was an hour, just short of. Richie, our predictions then that we had. Do you want to run us through what we were hoping to see?
Okay.
And what actually didn't show up at all. So bear in mind, lots of Ubisoft hopes and dreams we had pinned on this event, being their first digital one. I, in a nutshell, quite frankly, am just not disappointed, but just like, I don't feel like I've seen a full event. I feel like I got half of an event. Yeah. And it's missing such a wealth of their library that they didn't even mention or showcase. So come on, Richie, give us the breakdown. What did we hope for?
I think what I'm about to say will actually strengthen your opinion there, because Chris, your predictions were a new Prince of Persia game, Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Quarantine, date and new name. Skull and Bones, new name and single player. A new indie title, probably Valiant Hearts 2, and some sort of Stadia partnership. Tom, the only person to get a prediction right, and it happened before the event, Far Cry 6.
Oh, no, I was very close to getting 2 right.
Yes, being very close to getting the second right and actually getting right and not the same thing.
True.
The one he failed to get correct was the Watchdogs Legion, where he said November, because he's a fool. It's clearly October.
Yeah, October, Tom. Why would you even think November?
Yeah. Why, yeah. It's like a whole 2 days off. A new Rayman game, Gods and Monsters, and For Honor 2. I went with Assassin's Creed Valhalla day and date with PS5 and Xbox Series X, which still I've put myself down as a no because we've got an actual date, but that could still happen because we don't know the date of the console. So I'm assuming it's a no, but so you're gonna have to wait on your pizza, Tom, just
Very
in
true.
case.
That's fine, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, Just Dance 2021, but with no appearance on Wii. The return of Splinter Cell, which as one more thing, which I can't give myself just because Sam Fisher appeared in a different game.
Yeah. Beyond
Good and Evil, something about it, and a port of the South Park games.
So you reading that? You reading that list out, Richie, though, just really highlights the wealth of amazing titles and IP that Ubisoft have in their library, and yet they brought 4 things to the table for their first ever digital event, replacing essentially E3 this year. And Ubisoft usually go big at E3. The fact that we didn't get a Just Dance mention whatsoever is surprisingly enough.
They have mentioned in their credit that there's going to be another forward, but again, we don't know when. So if they're going to do these things more frequently, then the approach they've taken probably will make more sense a couple of forwards down the line.
Tom, what are your thoughts?
What massive event? Let's just have loads of small events. Where
I'm going to throw out, not unpopular opinion, but just my thoughts on it, really, I suppose. And we'll get Chat's take, and I'll get your take on it in just a second. But I almost feel like not talking about Skull and Bones now is almost like the sweeping it under the rug a little bit. Like, I feel like it has now been almost too long. Like, at some point, somebody has to say, like, right, yeah, okay, that project is done with. We've moved on from it. I don't know.
I've said that before. I think it's getting retooled into something else.
Well, again, that's why I thought we would have seen something from it. Same with Rainbow Six Quarantine. I said we might get a name change, and not there.
Check out the fishing footage from Valhalla right here as well.
Yeah, you can fish.
Very Legend of Zelda.
Fishing confirmed for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, gentlemen, enjoyed it, but wanted to see more.
Yeah.
Maybe he's playing.
Was good, but the overall thing was slightly disappointing by not giving us more stuff, really.
Yeah.
I feel like I had my entrees, but where's my main?
Yeah, lots of little starters that you knew about.
Yeah.
You just didn't have it. Yeah, I'd be very intrigued to know what we thought of it if we didn't know about Far Cry 6. We might have left on a bigger high thinking, oh, that looks awesome. The antagonist, it's amazing. And and however, because of that, we're now watching Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay that we should have seen at the Xbox event back then. They actually got Phil Spencer back in.
Yeah. It feels like it's got your big tempo stuff there, but doesn't have like the filler games, the smaller stuff in between.
Yeah, like showing Just Dance or an indie title or a Rayman, even just a Rayman title, like something to, like you said, to fill that gap between these big open world third person games.
And nothing that teases for the future, really.
Not that we're not like obviously Far Cry would be the tease for the future, but
it's not that far in the future. We've got a date for February next year.
Yeah, true. Well, again, if you think about it, we should have, in theory, Gods and Monsters, Skull and Bones, Beyond Good and Evil, Just Dance, and all the other ones should be technically in there for the future, but they just stayed silent on them. So it's a very interesting one. But I think that brings us to a wrap on our actual reactions to the Ubisoft Forward event. Back to you in the podcast studio, past Chris. Enjoy the rest of the show. And then I'll just wave off that one that time. And I think while we're here, we'll stay with the chat, right? So that's for the podcast segment. Thanks for joining us for that. Thanks for putting up with that weird time night. Let's speak to the chat. They are here.
There you go. If you tuned into the live reaction, then you've clearly just gotten a head start and actually seen some of the content from tomorrow's podcast episode. So you lucky people. You lucky people.
We would tease you for the episode 42 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast right there.
Yeah, it's coming out on October 29th. Or is it November, Tom? I can't remember.
Don't do this.
But let's see what we've got in the chat. Some people who've been watching along, thankfully. So I know Spagley said as soon as the Far Cry 6, it's a Breaking Bad game. Obviously, we've got Giancarlo Esposito of Breaking Bad fame, and also Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian. So brilliant actor. Really excited to see what he does with Far Cry. Obviously, we've had Pig and Min and such in the past, and we said the little boy in that. And now seeing the James Bond introduction trailer, do we think it's more likely to be Vaz from Far Cry 3? Now he's clearly had a shitty, weird, messed up childhood, and the country's about to go to shit.
I think it'd be interesting if you actually play as him, and it reveals at the end that he is Vaz.
Mm-hmm.
So you play as through Vaz's origin story. So you play through his descent into madness.
Right. So you can kind of understand why he is, what the definition of insanity really is through him.
That'd be. I think that'd be really interesting to kind of play through, and you're getting hints. Is it him? Is it not? All the way through the story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, arguably, what we're essentially alluding to here is that Far Cry 6 could be the prequel to Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
In a twist of numbers, like sequels and prequels. That's messing with the timeline a little bit, isn't it for you?
It is very tinfoil hat territory, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think the only thing we've got going off is a scar.
True.
That's it.
There is a lot of focus on the young child. I do actually think it's something Far Cry could benefit from, because I know it does get a lot of stick every iteration that it's just the same thing copied and pasted. I mean, the interstitial games in between literally are the same map copied and pasted, and they just changed the overlay a little bit. Primal was just Far Cry 4, I believe, and then New Dawn was just Far Cry 5 with... No, it was 4, from what I recall, because it was current gen. But either way, I've enjoyed them all. But there is that thing where every new Far Cry game we get, it's almost like they press the reset button on everything that exists, because it doesn't overlap or interlude with anything else. Whereas I think tying it into Far Cry 3 is quite a good way of bringing maybe older fans of the game back, creating maybe like just a narrative thread throughout it, then bringing in such an amazing actor for the antagonist. I think it could work really, really well for the game.
It builds the world a bit more.
Definitely does.
And then we hopefully will see a Blood Dragon DLC where everything goes neon 80s crazy shit as well.
I just think sometimes with these reset the world, just serialized, he's the next game in the series, nothing to do with the others, they kind of get a bit stale quite quickly, because it's almost okay, we're playing through another Far Cry game.
Yeah, I agree. So let's see what else we got in the chat. Stadia Hunters, no Gods and Monsters either, which is a surprise, right, considering you could play it on Stadia last month.
The alpha footage. Actually, mind you, it was alpha from E3 2019.
Yeah. And we know it's not even called Gods and Monsters anymore.
We don't know that. That was just
it was a working title.
I thought that was Orpheus was the working title.
Both. I think it was both.
I mean, at E3 that was the name to give it, but the fact that it's not here and we saw it last E3, so is there another forward that's going to be on before the end of the summer, or are we saying just Gods and Monsters is off the table for 2020?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, because we were supposed to have, once again, like Watchdogs Legion, we were supposed to have Gods and Monsters by now, weren't we? Mm-hmm. So it's another one of these titles that I feel like they're going to push back, and then what? Do we see it? Essentially the same sort of release date that we were supposed to get it, but next year instead, 2021.
Yeah.
I just feel like some of these things just need to be addressed. Like, people just need to be told what the hell is going on with.
I think With the challenges for COVID, it's probably a bit of Ubisoft don't really know what's going on. They've gone through probably massive challenges themselves.
But it's not difficult to turn around and just put out a press release saying, we know you're all excited about this game, but we ask that you do understand, due to the nature of things going on in the world right now, that there have been some delays. But we'll have some news coming for you soon. Stay tuned for the Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree there. It's just...
It's about how you handle the press with these things, and I don't want to keep being the bloke has to like call people out for saying it, because I feel like all I'm doing at the moment is literally just being like, you're doing a bad job, but like a company like Ubisoft, I feel really should they should know how to handle these things.
Well, they are usually quite good with it.
It is possible we'll see at the Stadia Connect.
That's true.
So I wouldn't rule off Gods and Monsters just now. But bear in mind, I'm going to assume that this Ubisoft Forward was produced probably before that leak, or at least in the conceptual stage.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe addressing that in here was probably maybe not feasible this time round.
Yeah.
Or if they're looking at, well, we're talking about in the Connect literally 2 days after. I can see how that sort of decision might be made. But...
Yeah, again, it depends on the partnerships and what agreements they've got. I'm not expecting massive. Is it weird that we didn't get any mention of Uplay Plus? Like the subscription model? Like there's no we've got some great new features coming, some new benefits, It was just kind of like, again, not acknowledging the wealth of stuff Ubisoft have got. What the hell is this floating rock? What am I looking at right now? Is this photo mode where you can...
So they're building a cairn. So essentially just like the stacks of rocks that you see in locations.
Is this a mini game within Valhalla?
I guess.
Oh, it's like stacks on stacks on stacks.
Going back to your point, Chris, I sometimes wonder if like Uplay Plus is the stuff that they just can't say right now because of being a change of generation.
Yeah, maybe
the hands are tied a bit.
I do think the launch of next gen is kind of staggering what everyone wants to say. They're all like primed to go like, oh, we want to talk about it. Is Tommy just laughing at them making this cairn over here?
No, it literally is stacks on stacks on stacks. There's even the line you've got to get past with it. It's like, what?
Meanwhile, back in Anglo-Saxon village,
do we need this in Valhalla?
Hey, I played some shitty games in Assassin's Creed 3 of 9 Men Morris and stuff like that, so I'm not surprised. It's definitely a return to all Assassin's Creed games with shitty mini games like that.
Spending all that time playing checkers in Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
5-finger fillet or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
To be fair, I must admit, I'm partial to a bit of Gwent.
Gwent.
Yeah. Well,
good old Gwent.
Not Assassin's Creed, but these are the first mini games that sort. Literally just stacking rocks.
Yeah.
So anything else? Obviously, no Rayman, no Just Dance. I really thought they would have acknowledged Just Dance. Like they do it every year. Yeah. It's like one of their top sellers across all platforms, just because of how
it's kind of
pick
one
up
of
and family play
in between big games to keep. Okay, we're going to jump straight in. He's like 30 seconds to keep the momentum of your press conference going.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they didn't have any of them sort of games.
Yeah.
Well, that Brawlhalla and
No Splinter Cell either, unfortunately. No For Honor 2, Tom.
Nope. I'm surprised again, even with For Honor, that they didn't talk about.
Oh, we got a drinking game now.
Hey, fantastic.
Wedding horns. Challenge begins. Either way, it looks like Ubisoft have got a lot of stuff in the bag. When do we predict that we might get the next Forward then?
I think when we know more about next generation consoles.
Yeah, I reckon October.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think as soon as we've got that detail, we can switch to the next bit?
Yeah, probably once we've got the dates. It might be a lot of stuff like where they want to give us dates and stuff, but can't until the console date's announced.
Just watching the footage of like the shooting the arrows while drunk.
Yeah. I like how they set a game in Britain, and so the first thing they do is we're going to add drinking games.
Yeah.
Oswald.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oswald Cobblepot.
I do feel the more I'm watching Valhalla, I mean, I know it says doesn't represent the final game, but it just looks so much like there hasn't been much in terms of the graphical fidelity,
character models and such.
Yeah, character models, movements, and so on that have changed since Odyssey. But again, I'm not going to fault it for it, but I do feel like if you're moving from one game to the next, that there should be some sort of improvement in that sort of aspect.
Yeah, and totally different games aside, like me and Richie obviously just finished playing The Last of Us Part 2, where some of the character models and the face emotion they get across that is outstandingly beautiful. And to come back to obviously different scope and scale and stuff, and the interactions aren't necessarily the crux of the game on this one, whereas it isn't a story-driven linear game. But yeah, you're totally right, Tom. Some of the movements and stuff, and it's just still look janky.
In The Last of Us 2, the detail in that game is insane. I know with an open world game, you can't go to them extremes. It's just basically impossible. Where a bit more of a strict linear title, you can. And things like the environment, there's stuff like little things like if your backpack gets wet, the things inside it get wet in The Last of Us 2. Them little details which you don't really notice as you're playing, but when someone points out, you go, "Oh my god, yeah."
One thing that just sticks out to me with the Assassin's Creed games, and it really irritates me to no end, and I'm so annoyed that I get annoyed by it, is the hair. Like, the hair on characters just doesn't look like it's
glued on
quite right. Yeah. It does. It looks literally like Lego hair that they've just like popped onto some bloke's head. Removable and interchangeable.
Literally like that.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm not gonna sit here and shit on Assassin's Creed. I love the franchise. I'm very excited for Valhalla. I
want to love the franchise. I just don't at the moment. I enjoy it, but I'm hoping this is the game that makes me convert to me properly.
Converse you probably. Is this the first one since you've shown a rekindled interest in it that's come out day and date, Richie, for you?
No, technically Odyssey was, and then actually, I've talked about the story before where I was playing Odyssey, and I just didn't like it at first. There's a lot of crap in that game. I think just ruins it. For me, I think it is a massively overrated game. It drops it down from down to just being a good game rather than what should be a great game.
Yeah.
And even though I have turned a corner on it, there is still a lot of stuff which we've talked about on stream, Chris.
Yeah.
Things like the conquest mechanics, I think, are pretty much half baked.
Yeah.
The bounty system is just annoying. It just actually detracts from my enjoyment of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of things which hopefully Valhalla is going to kind of clean up and tidy up.
Yeah.
Choice of character-wise, which Ivor do you prefer at this moment in time, from what you've seen?
I think I'm going to rock with the female on this one.
With Charlize Theron.
Yeah, I've got a thing for Charlize Theron. I always don't get me started. This is a family-friendly podcast, Chris.
Yeah.
This isn't a podcast, Tom. This is after hours live stream reaction.
Family-friendly channel.
Up next, looks like they're going to show some Hyperscape then.
I might go as a bloke then, Tom, if you're going as the lady. That way we get that nice comparison.
We need to do more justice for the female characters in the Assassin's Creed world. So,
Chris, you can just play through as both.
I'll do one on PlayStation. I'll do one on Stadia just to get the best of both worlds. But yeah, any more points, gentlemen, you'd like to get out there while we have the lovely viewing audience watching along?
I think everyone should go watch the Connect with us on Tuesday.
That's a very good shout, Richie. Yeah, if you're watching along now and you've enjoyed our live reactions, we'll be coming to you on Tuesday. I believe it's 5 p.m. UK time. The Connect actually on. So it's a little bit earlier. But we'll be bringing our live reactions to that. And if you check out the podcast this Monday or tomorrow for you guys watching live, it'll already be out. Again, time travel in my own head now. I'm thinking, is it out yet? It's not, but you guys watching it.
I want everyone who saw it in the live stream to comment so we know.
So we know who you are. And yeah, we'll have more content for you coming soon. Any more exciting points on Ubisoft before we wrap up then, you two?
No, not on Ubisoft, I'm afraid, but I will also add with regards to the Connect as well. Make sure you check out Monday's podcast because you can see our Connect predictions there as well. So make sure you get on the ball with that and know what we expect to see at the Connect before we actually go live with it.
And if it's anything like that,
will we do better?
No, I
can't
don't think.
do worse. You got no points.
A good question could be: will the Connect do better? I'm expecting better things from the Connect than I just saw from this Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah,
I am very hopeful for this Connect, and I feel it has to be.
It needs.
It has to be a hit.
Yeah.
Beyond the Stadia community, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. It needs to land big and basically draw on the crowds and the attention, because lots of people have been watching this Ubisoft thing, but again, I don't think for the first one out the gate it delivered on anything that we already didn't know about. Even the Far Cry leaks aside, we only really saw 3 games. in my opinion, like that the masses care about.
Yeah, what I want to see about the Kinect is people talking about it in a positive light on Wednesday's round of like podcasts from like IGN and Kind of Funny and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what I want to see from the Kinect. In talking about it in a positive light.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for our Sounds of Stadia live reaction stream to the Ubisoft Forward event that took place this Sunday evening on the 12th of July. Hopefully, as they mentioned in there, as Yves Guillemot popped up and told us, that we will see another one in the future, hopefully with some more games from their wealthy catalogue library. In the meantime though, jump over to the Sounds of Stadia channel. If you've not already done, please like the video and give us a subscribe. It keeps you in the loop with all of our news stories and our weekly podcast, which comes to you every Monday, this week in particular with our Ubisoft Forward reactions. If you've just joined us, they're over there now. And our Google Stadia Connect predictions for Tuesday. See you all on Tuesday. My name's been Chris.
I've been Tom.
I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia live reacting. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for taking your time. Have a good evening, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.